Our film tells about the period in 2007 after the war ended and President Bush declared victory. Two American soldiers go on a military sniper mission in Baghdad, but they fall into the trap of a professional Iraqi sniper. The film begins in late 2007, after the Iraq War was about to end and President Bush declared victory. We see Matthew and Isaac as they monitor the pipeline in the middle of the Iraqi desert because they are looking for those who killed the American workers at the site. They hide behind rocks and trees to protect themselves from danger, and 20 hours pass while they are in this state, and the criminal does not appear. Here Matthew thinks that there are no longer Iraqi soldiers in the place and looks at the corpses around him and believes that this attack occurred from a large number of the Iraqi army. Isaac did not agree with him because there is no evidence that there were a large number of soldiers here. He notes that all the workers were killed in the same manner. He believes that the one who killed them was the professional Iraqi sniper Juba, because all the workers died from a bullet in the head, but Matthew says that it is impossible for one person to kill so many soldiers. Matthew gets bored with the long wait and decides to check the site himself and asks Isaac to protect him. Matthew is very far from the area, and Isaac tells him that he cannot see him with binoculars and asks him not to go further than that, but Matthew doesn't care what he says. Although Isaac's binoculars are old, he cannot dispense with this binoculars because it belonged to his friend who died in the war. Matthew goes to see the dead bodies and believes Isaac's words when he tells him that they all died in the same way. Then he tries to find out how the criminal killed them. Isaac asks him to come back so he can put himself in danger. Suddenly, Matthew is shot in the stomach and falls to the ground in severe pain. Isaac quickly goes to help his friend and runs zigzagging to avoid the sniper's bullets. When he approached Matthew, he was also shot in his leg. He falls to the ground and gets up to hide behind an old wall. Matthew contacts Isaac and asks him to contact the base to request help. Isaac ties his leg to stop the bleeding and then tries to contact the base via the radio, but he discovers that there are parts in the device's wires are cut off, because the sniper hit the device with his bullet. Matthew asks Isaac to locate the sniper so he can kill him, but Isaac tells him not to move. Because the sniper can kill him easily, Isaac begins inserting the binoculars through the wall and Matthew tries to reach for his weapon, but he loses consciousness because he has bled a lot of blood. Isaac uses a knife to remove the bullet from his leg and feels severe pain, after which he loses consciousness for a while, then wakes up to a sound from the speaker and discovers that he is the base officer's guard. He tries to communicate with him and Isaac tells him what happened and asks for medical supplies, but Isaac becomes suspicious of the officer when he asks him many strange questions. Suspicion increases when the officer asks him to tell him his exact location or stands and shoots in the air so that the helicopter officers can see him, but Isaac tells him that this is against protocol and will expose him to danger. Isaac discovers that the speaker's accent is not American and understands that the speaker is the sniper Juba after he set a trap for him and penetrated the radio frequencies to contact him and kill him. Juba is trying to find out more information about him. Isaac tries to turn on the radio again to communicate with the base, but to no avail. The sniper continues his questions, and when Isaac refuses to answer, Juba threatens him that he will kill his friend. Isaac discovers that his friend is still alive, and in order to protect him, Isaac has to answer his many questions. Isaac then draws a map of the place in the sand to find out where the bullet came from and determine the possible location of Juba. Juba tells him that he is an ordinary Iraqi citizen defending his country and asks Isaac to tell him about his family, but he refuses because this is a personal matter. Isaac asks him why he kills the Americans who are developing Iraq. Because the Americans are the ones who built the schools and pipelines that will improve Iraq's economy. Juba laughs at his words and tells him that the Americans are investing in Iraq to achieve financial profits. Juba keeps asking him personal questions, and after he refuses, he threatens to kill his friend. Juba tells him that the binoculars he currently has belong to a soldier who was killed in the war. He tells him about some conversations between him and Matthew. Isaac realizes that Juba was listening to them throughout the mission. Isaac uses binoculars to find a radio device next to one of the dead bodies, so he moves to the end of the wall and picks up a piece of wood without the sniper seeing him. He tries to pick up the wireless device, but the wood is short. Then he tries to drink from his bottle, but finds that it is empty and there is no water in it because the sniper shot it with his bullet. Juba confesses that he intended to shoot the bottle, the radio, and his foot so that Isaac would die slowly and that he would enjoy it. Isaac examines the bullet in his leg to try to determine the type of sniper's weapon. He looks through the scope and asks Juba some questions to determine what type of weapon he has. He tells Juba that he is a terrorist, but Juba tells him that the Americans are the terrorists because they occupied a country that is not theirs and are killing its people. Isaac begins to do some calculations and looks through his binoculars and is able to determine Juba's location and knows that he is hiding behind the garbage. It is clear that he has been hiding there for a long time while the sun is hot, and this is because he is a professional sniper. Juba denies that he is a professional because he believes that he is an ordinary Iraqi citizen. From the way Juba spoke, Isaac believed that he was an old officer in the American army. But Juba denies this and tells him that he is just a person defending his country from enemies. Isaac tells him about his childhood and that they grew up together and entered the army together. After that, Isaac felt thirsty and exhausted, then he slept on the floor and listened to Juba threatening him. After a while, Isaac decides to muster all his strength to deceive Juba. He puts his helmet and jacket on his weapon and raises it higher, but the trick fails and the helmet falls to the ground. Isaac is upset because he will be more vulnerable to danger. Isaac was crying a lot and decided to risk his life and went out to get the radio from the nearby corpse, dodge the bullets, and return behind the wall again. Isaac opens the bag to find water and some sweets, which he eats and drinks from, then he turns on the wireless device. But unfortunately it does not work. Juba shoots the wall and most of it is demolished. Isaac hears Matthew's voice and discovers that he is still alive. He tells his friend about the sniper's location. Matthew uses a small mirror to look at the sniper's location and moves very slowly to reach his weapon. Isaac opens a conversation with the sniper to distract him and knows that Juba was working as a teacher in Baghdad. The enemy attacked his school and killed his students. At this time, Matthew grabs his weapon, points it towards the Juba site, and fires randomly to hit him, and Isaac also shoots to protect his friend. Matthew shoots again, and then Juba shoots Matthew in the shoulder, and Isaac asks Matthew to crawl until he reaches the wall. Isaac is waiting for him at the end of the wall to help him, but at this moment, Juba hits Matthew in the head and kills him. Isaac watches his friend die and says he wants to go home. Juba promises him not to kill him if he wants to leave, but Isaac did not believe him. Suddenly, Isaac hears a voice from the radio and hears the voice of the officers in the base, but they cannot hear him. But he is the only one who hears them. He is shocked when he hears Juba's voice speaking to the officers on the radio, and he impersonates Isaac and asks them for help. Isaac discovers that Juba was the one who requested all the American aid all this time and pretended to be an American soldier in need of help. The support team arrives at the scene and kills them all. Isaac tries to cut off this call so that no one comes, but he cannot, and he falls asleep from fatigue, and when he wakes up, he finds a crow eating his leg after he thought he was dead. Isaac decides to risk his life and decides to get his friend's weapon using a piece of wood tied to a rope. Then he aims the weapon at the Juba site. At that moment, the helicopter arrives. Isaac wants to protect the soldiers, so he drops the wall on the ground, and dust fills the place so that Juba cannot locate it. Then Isaac starts shooting randomly at the sniper's position, unsure whether he hit him or not. Isaac stops to confirm that Juba is dead. Indeed, no one shoots him and thinks that he is dead. The soldiers transfer Isaac to the helicopter and go to treat him. Isaac is trying to tell them about Juba's trap, but they did not hear him because of the sound of the helicopter, and suddenly Juba shoots them. The sniper kills the paramedics and then kills the pilot. Then the helicopter falls to the ground and Isaac dies at that time. Juba uses the radio and pretends to be an American soldier in need of help, to bring other soldiers to the site and kill them as well. Here we have reached the end of the film. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to follow all the latest videos. Thank you so much.